Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here with Sumukh. He secured a rank of 59 in the CLAT. He's been preparing for the CLAT for 2 years. That's what I I understand. And he's from Mumbai. So, so Sumukh, you tell me this was expected, or you were hoping this will happen, or you were sure this
I
is
was
going to
I was
happen?
really hoping this would happen. This is my dream scenario right now. Like preparing for 2 years and getting into your dream school as well with a good rank. I think that's definitely a dream scenario. And was I ready for it? I don't know. I'm still absorbing it. So it's like a lot of ups and downs while preparing. So it's definitely really good.
So what are the things that you would attribute to where you are today?
Um, I think mainly you have to work hard for it. I think it's like everybody will start working hard for it, and at times you will feel that you're not working hard enough. So you should have acceptance also when you get a low score and when you're not happy with it. You should accept it and channelize it in a positive way. So I think mainly working hard would help you a lot. It'll go a long way.
You talked about the fact that you had a lot of ups and downs. So what were the downs?
So
Uh,
specifically, I think in certain mocks the downs were bad. The scores were really bad. I went from a score of 110 to a score like of 80, and that was
okay.
my first offline mock mainly. So I was like really depressed after that. And there are certain other scenarios as well where I've gone from 80s and 90s to 70s and 60s suddenly out of nowhere. And it's so difficult to understand what went wrong in those scenarios because you were doing well at one point and then all of a sudden it's like you're nowhere again. So you have to work on that as well. And I think if you work on that, and you have to analyze the mocks mainly over here. And yeah, and so sometimes during the classes as well, you make certain mistakes while discussing things with your teachers and your mentors. And there also you feel a bit awkward and it's embarrassing in general, but I think you learn from that as well for the future.
So when you had those 60s and 70s and 80s score, so how did you? What was the frame of mind? So what did you do? What do you tell yourself? Is there anything specifically that you did?
So initially there was like a denial kind of period where I just couldn't believe that I was whatever happened there. And then you just access the mock, you analyze it, you see where you went wrong, and it's normally just one section where you messed up. So that's why the scores go down. You have to work on that. You have extra material provided by CL obviously, and your different mocks. Analyze those mocks, and you have to work on that for the next mock. And just keep giving mocks, keep giving tests, and keep solving things. Eventually,
Okay,
it should get better.
so let's talk about your individual sections. So how did you prepare? Let's say for each of the section. Let's start with all the reading sections you have. Reading comprehension or English, logical reasoning, and legal, which is sort of let's first talk about English and logic. So what was your plan of action there?
So I think for English and logic, my preparation was similar. It's mainly solving and analyzing mocks, and it's just practice in that, practice and practice. And obviously, you have to read a lot, like read newspapers, read different materials. So your speed while reading also increases. For logic specifically, actually, I solved more material because I was struggling more in logic. For English, I think if you can prepare for vocab also a bit earlier, I think that would be great because most people don't do that. So you would have an advantage over there.
So when you say
Uh,
prepare for vocab, what did you do? Is there anything specific that you did?
I just had this one particular book from CL which had all these words in vocab. So I just went through those words and I try to use that daily while speaking.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, like some of like it worked sometimes, sometimes it didn't work. So
What about your legal story? So did
so
you?
legal initially when I started legal, I think Namrata ma'am taught me legal, like the hardcore information about legal, about contracts, etc. So we started with actually the LET pattern of legal, the principal fact based pattern. And I think that or even that helped for CLAT because CLAT is essentially a more elaborate principle.
True.
So obviously with certain lessons from like English and logic about reading quickly and understanding while reading, I think legal, if you know the topics well, then if the information is not alien, for example, then you can cover it well. But you have to prepare for an alien information as well because it's not like they can ask anything, right? So again, it's very similar to English and logic. It's practice, but start with principal fact base, I would say, because those are shorter, simpler, and then go bigger eventually.
I always also believe that there's a short fact principle question that many people ignore. I think that plays a very important role. So, like you said, for example, in the CLAT, you get 8 principles. But in those, let's say if I do about 50 short principles, then I'd get 50 principles. So this principle, like you said, is very so elaborated way in which they are presented in the passage. So you solving those uh, the old type or now ALET type or the old CLAT type frag principle question, I'm sure would have helped you a lot. I think that's my takeaway, and I'm guessing that you're also saying the same thing.
Yes, definitely. Actually, for certain things, like for example, if you do a lot of questions on contract laws or tort laws, um, a similar thing comes up for CLAT, like the entire passage. Or sometimes by reading, you're confident that I already know about this. I don't need to read this. You're gonna skip some parts, and that also like aids you in your like time management efforts, which happened in this CLAT paper. The first passage for me, it was based on contract laws. So
Oh,
yeah, I that really helped as well. So I think it covers up a lot the principal fact based questions, and you simultaneously practice for the passage based things. I think it should lead to an overall development for both patterns.
wonderful. So what about maths? We're good at maths. You have to struggle with
Honestly,
maths.
maths was my strongest section like throughout the I guess my preparing period. So I never really struggled with maths only like in certain types of questions like simple interest, compound interest, and probability mainly. There I struggle, but you have to practice where you struggle. Obviously, you have to attend classes specifically for maths because there you get some shortcuts, some good knowledge about how to solve them. And yeah, you have to use the material, understand the concepts because if you understand the concepts in maths, I think the basics would solve a lot. And from what I've seen from the mocks, I think certain questions like percentage and ratios are more important. Like generally, they're asked more.
True, true. So how much did you score? What's your score in the CLAT?
I scored 13 in math out of 15. Two I had to skip because of the time.
And overall, how much did you hit?
Overall, the score
Huh.
106.25,
Out of the 106.25, what was the contribution from GK, by the way?
18.75. Actually, it's not very good.
So I think this time GK was, I don't know what was it. I think everybody's
It
saying
was
weird.
I won't say it was easy definitely because only I think from I've spoken to some other people as well like my friends and even they said that only three passages were even somewhat recognizable because the others were completely alien. They were completely different. Like CSR awards wasn't even in our time. I think it was like in 2021. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So so so
yeah.
sorry. Continue.
A
Huh.
lot of my answers in GK were actually calculated guesses as well towards the end, like for two, three passages. So yeah, I would say that it was a very moderate GK section.
So let's say out of those, so you said 108, you said, right? That's a score.
Around 6.25. Yeah.
106, 106, out of which about 18 was GK.
Yeah.
Uh, right. So which means about what? From the rest of it, you probably would have touched what about 80ish, I think
Yeah,
88,
about 80.
88,
I think.
88,
Yeah,
89.
88.
I think my math is okay. Okay, but 88,
That's
89
good.
is what you hit, which means a non-GK. So GK का तो कुछ भरोसा तो है नहीं. Ah, so I think that the non-GK strengthening those things should be very important and crucial. I think, right?
Yes,
I
very
think,
crucial because obviously for GK, it's like impossible to predict what the consortium will do. Sometimes it can be like CLAT 2020 kind of GK, which is still, it's fairly recognizable, whatever the topics are there. Sometimes it can be like are your. So I think initially focusing on the other topics are very important, I feel. Um, Overall, if you strengthen the reading sections itself, I think if you can, like, if the reading sections provide about 75 marks, 70 to 75 marks, then you're in a good position. And of course,
yeah.
with a good maths and GK section, it's even better.
So somebody in a preparation stage, right? For example, let's imagine someone who's taking the CLAT the coming season, which is happening December, by the way, this time. So we have about 6 months, roughly 6 months. So let's say if I look at two scenarios of someone with a score of 100, one person with getting 30 in GK, another person get 15 in GK or 10 in GK. The person scoring 100 with about 15 in GK, I think, would be in a better position than person with getting 30 in GK and getting 100, because you never know with the GK. And now it's a time is very, very important and crucial. I think that is a biggest learning from this from the CLAT, I think, personally. So what do you think, Sumukh?
Yes, I think for the second scenario where the GK scores were a bit lower, for him, he's in a better position because your GK you can develop at any time. You just have to read for that. But the other sections do take a lot of time to reach to a certain level. Because for me, my GK score still I think about like February were below 20, and I think after that they significantly increased and reached around 27. I only touched 30 once in GK, honestly. So for me, GK was never really a very good section overall compared to others. I feel, but the other sections did help a lot.
You know something? I've been speaking to rank 2, rank 7, rank 12, I think rank 9. And I'm speaking to you. There's a common thread. So all of you guys have not banked on GK a lot for your sort of under. You still need some marks from GK. So you are good enough, let's say, to get a 20, and you are still able to get something like 107, 108. So probably this particular CLAT is reminding that it is impossible. It's not wise. I'll not say impossible to kind of bank everything on that one section,
Yeah.
because there are these lot many number of questions, and it can get marks very quickly in GK, but you just can't put everything. So you're right in that sense. So what about those people? So you're out of the marks, 13 is what you got from maths, and how, according to you, how important is maths
I
when
think
it comes to
maths
like.
is overall because basing it on the percentile that I got in the mocks, even with a low score, I think I still got over 90 percentile in maths. So I feel that a lot of people don't value maths a lot. In fact, in my test center, I could see while other people were submitting their answers, I could see that they left the entire math section, and I could hear people discuss about the math section that they didn't even look at it, because this maths is actually, it will be similar to your maths in like 8th, 9th, 10th grade, and if you practice, then it's easier to solve as well. So I think it's a very good advantage if you can solve the math section, because a lot of people just don't look at the math section. So I would definitely rate maths very highly.
So
Very, it's very important.
yeah, so and when you look back your sort of preparation journey, is there anything that you would have done differently? Is,
For maths specifically, or
no, no, overall,
generally?
overall, generally.
Read newspapers again. It's a very important factor, and this year specifically, I think you would understand that newspapers would have helped a lot. Then your reading speed, everything is generally read editorials and your vocabulary. It's an all around development. And then don't waste a lot of time if you're starting early. Don't feel like you're questioned because of that extra year, because you aren't. It'll be a sudden realization, honestly. All of a sudden you're in such a position that okay, now it's too late. I have to begin my preparation. So don't waste a lot of time and enjoy. Don't take stress. Don't be depressed. Enjoy. I think that's the main thing.
So you've seen a lot of 70s and 60s, and I'm sure that there'll be many students who will be watching this and looking at their scores and feeling demotivated. Is there anything that you want to share with them, given that you have gone through the same journey?
Firstly, for the like for one day, if you feel demotivated, that's completely fine. But from the next day, you have to pick things up. You have to look at the paper again. You have to solve it again, because you don't have a lot of time to remain demotivated and depressed. Solve another mock. Do something that will like increase your motivation and your confidence, because I think that's the one good thing that you can have throughout the year, your motivation and your confidence. So don't lose that. That's the main thing, because you will see better days, you'll see better scores eventually. That's definitely
So
a
you you
surety.
you you be hanging there and keep fighting. So just
Yes,
don't
definitely.
stick to the process, and outcomes will happen, whatever the outcomes may be. So is there any so how has been your preparation, like you weekly wise? You did you put some tasks for yourself that you want to achieve, or you decided that I want to put some time slot? What is your typical strategies with respect to?
I never had a timetable and things like that. I actually I a day before I used to think about the next day, like what should I do in that on like tomorrow or day after tomorrow. So I had a daily schedule. So about 4 hours you have to focus on GK initially, because towards the end that GK will take up a lot of time. So initially 4 hours GK, I think it's fine. 2 hours newspaper, 2 hours your revision and reading, and then I would say about 2 3 hours specifically for the people who are giving CLAT in December, as you said, so about 2 3 hours for other sections. Every day you can do something different, or you can do a weekly thing. That's depending on the individual what they're comfortable with. I did a different thing every day. So like for example, on one day I practiced maths for 2 hours. The next day I would do English and then logic, and then towards the end you can multitask. So
So,
similar
so,
to
so
your
what,
mocks.
so what is telling you what to study? Is that, do you look at any plan, or you say that I've taken a mock test? Let me identify certain things. Is that how it, or was it?
So a mock test definitely helps to see where you are lagging. Then if you feel that okay, you don't have any, like if the mocks are not indicating anything, then you can just open books and see what topics are remaining, what you haven't read, or what should you revise. What do you think is more important or significant for the next mock or the next test? So like that, you have to prepare. It's like your school examinations basically. You have to see what to do next, how to do next. That's it.
So wonderful. So Sumukh, in your journey, is there who are the people who helped you get here? Is there any set of people that you want to give a shout out to? Uh, s-
Of course, the mentors at CL they helped a lot initially, like Namrata ma'am, for example. Even Prasan sir was there. Even Palash sir was there. All of these mentors who initially, especially during the online period where you were really not motivated, they were there to help you. My parents were always there. Whenever I got a bad score, I used to talk like to my dad and my mom. My mom was more like an internal support. She would try to understand what's going on. My dad was external support. And I had some very good friends, Parth and Ansh and Lance, and some of these friends who I collaborated with them. I spoke to them, and that's when people, yeah, from my centers. So that was really helpful.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I'm guessing that at this point in time you're trying to process the information, process the fact that
Absolutely,
you're
yeah,
getting there. So I'm
yeah.
guessing that you're not thought about what is that you're going to do in the law school. Is that, did you have any idea? Did you have any
No,
plans?
I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. I'm like going to their website and websites. I'm seeing what infrastructure is there in that particular college. I don't even know what's going on there. I tried searching on YouTube for videos of their hostel rooms as well because even there I don't know what's going on. So a lot of information I have to look at a lot of information now. So
Huh.
yeah,
So what about in terms of what is that you want to get out of these 5 years? Uh, anything in your mind?
a law
Or
degree hopefully, definitely a law degree.
so why did you
And
start this journey? Why?
actually, it's a very weird thing because initially I focused on engineering a lot. I think up till 10th grade I was still into like engineering. I joined science CBSE, so that
Okay.
was a headache afterwards. It was a very big headache. I have another friend who did the same thing, who joined science and HSC. So there are a lot of people who were confused in the beginning, and then suddenly I felt that no, that these subjects, physics, chemistry, maths, it's not really suiting. I am not interested in that. And simultaneously, I began like the law classes and stuff, where I was more interested, more inclined to the law side. So I finally took the decision of giving up my dream in in engineering and kickstarting my dream in law, which helped
Ah,
a lot.
there is no plan B. We only have another plan A's.
Yeah,
If
only
one
plan
plan A
A.
doesn't work, we have next plan A.
Next
So,
plan A.
so what 12th you had science,
Arts
CBS,
and CBSE, yeah.
CBSE science. So which means
CBSE science.
to CLAT and this CBSE would have been.
A big headache, big headache, especially because we had two board examinations out of nowhere. They kept two board examinations. So I had like one in December, one in May, and my board examinations actually ended a week and a half before the CLAT exam. So two big stresses for me, and a lot of prelims, a lot of mock tests from school as well. So
So,
overall,
so
it was, yeah,
I'm guessing you're going to chill at least now. Are you going to party now for that till the time you hit?
definitely. I feel that I deserve this, a party at
Yeah.
least. So uh,
So I think you should just ensure that you you completely relax for the next how many ever days. I'm sure that they will start the sessions early because the
yeah,
seats
I've
will
heard
get
that
filled
as
in
well.
Bangalore. No, so all the very best, Sumukh. All the very,
Thank
it
you,
was
sir.
nice
Thank you, sir.
talking to you. Wish you
Thank
the
you.
best.
Thanks a lot.